Hello, today I'm going to talk about John Innes composts. We've just introduced a new range as is typical with John Innes composts, we have seed compost, then we have number 1, number 2 and number 3. And I want to just explain a little bit about John Innes. Who was John Innes and what's it all about? Well, John Innes was in fact a philanthropist who left all of his estate when he died in the early 1900s for the setting up of a horticultural institute. So he was the benefactor that made the existence of what was known then as the John Innes Horticultural Institute. And it was some researchers at the institute that they were doing work on plant biology. It was the first centre of plant genetics in the UK. And they were having problems. They were doing experiments on plants, but the growing media, the media that they were putting in their pots for their experiments was too variable. So they set about creating a range of media that they could use that would get rid of that variability within their plant experiments. The result was a blend of sterilised loam, peat, and either sand or grit. Nowadays the formulations have moved on quite a lot because obviously that was the 1930s. We now have peat-free variations, which is what ours are, 100% peat-free. Fertilizer technology has also moved on, so those are slightly different. But essentially these mixes are still a blend of sterilised loam and in our case wood fibre, bark mixture, and in the seed compost, which is this one for use in seed trays like this, a nice fine free-flowing mix that has got some sand in it as well as the sterilised loam and the wood fibre. And then numbers 1, 2 and 3 are both slightly coarser. They are a blend with varying levels of fertiliser. Number 1, which as you can see on the bag is for young plants, has the least fertiliser in it and is for young plants. For potting on, a slightly stronger mix with a bit more fertiliser. Number 3 is for mature plants, and for that that's the sort of thing you'd use for a mature shrub on a patio, for instance like my potted box here. They're going to be in there for a long time. They need a good sturdy growing medium that's going to be structurally sound over a long period. In every case we can only put enough fertiliser in for the first few weeks, so whichever one you use you will have to supplementary feed depending on the application. If for instance you wanted to pot some bulbs in the autumn to get a spring display for your patio like these ones here, for this I would probably recommend using number 2, but with a bulb a lot of the food comes from the actual bulb itself, so really all you need there is a good structurally stable growing medium. As I say, I would probably go for number 2 in that instance. So these are traditional mixes. They're much heavier than normal potting composts that are used nowadays, but there is a strong demand for them. The pot is much heavier, and as long as there's enough grit and wood fibre or bark, in our case, in there to stop the soil getting very, very compacted, they can make a very nice medium, and I know that they are very popular. So that is John Innes mixes, who John Innes was, and which product you should use for which purpose.